All right, you're tuned into MMA Canada and very excited to be talking to an individual competing at BFL 84, which goes down on September 4th, and a very intriguing bantamweight bout set to go down as Aso Palani takes on Ali Wasuk, and great having Ali on the MMA Canada platform today. How you doing, man?
I'm doing very well, man. I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, great to talk to you, man. And we've spoken before, obviously, but it seems like this is such a massive moment for you, like in terms of how much I've been seeing like the BFL social media talking about how you're going to compete in one of the biggest fights of your career. Is that very much how you're kind of viewing this next encounter? I mean, I guess all fighters kind of look at the next one as the biggest one in a certain sense, just because it's like the task at hand. But how would you, I guess, perceive this next bout? It seems like a massive fight on a big card overall.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Man, Tom Brady is one of my favorite athletes, and they always ask him like, which championship was your favorite? And he always says the next one. So just like this, bro, the next one's always gonna be the toughest one, the biggest challenge, always somebody new that's gonna bring in a new set of skills. So I'm just excited to face a specialist. Those are always fun for me. Able to see my skill versus somebody who's good at one specific thing. So yeah, super excited for that.
Yeah, and you talk about Tom Brady, championship accolades, things of that persuasion and everything like that. And as you put it, you're not, overlooking this fight, obviously, but I mean, a victory here could certainly put you in a great spot to, potentially earn a crack at becoming a three-time BFL champion. So, I mean, you talk about championship accolades and stacking up the resume and stuff like that. I feel like you're in a good position to do that here if you get your ideal outcome, obviously.
Definitely, definitely. First and foremost, the most important thing is obviously getting the W, performing at, what I'm able or know how to perform at that high level. And after that, man, everything else is going to come into place the way it's meant to. So I truly believe that, with a spectacular performance, it's going to bring a lot of eyes, potentially a third crack, a third title win. But even bigger than that, the UFC is coming to Vancouver. So, a late, if I win in a spectacular way, which I know I'm going to do, then that door opens up as well. So
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like there's so much connectivity between, BFL and the UFC. I mean, there's the obvious, I guess, media rights components of, BFL being on UFC Fight Pass, but it does really seem like there's that strong pipeline between Battlefield Fight League and the UFC and everything like that. So, I mean, yeah, that would be incredible if something like that were to, pan out and stuff like that. And I feel like there's definitely historical precedent set in terms of like, high level BFL fighters having that ability to vault towards the UFC stage and all that.
yeah, definitely, man. And Canadian MMA is just on the rise. We got a lot of great fighters out here, and the UFC coming to town just allows us to showcase that skill. And BFL is having an event right before the UFC, so 2 days before. So again, coming out of this, not looking past this fight, but coming out of this fight and winning the way I know I'm going to win. Setting that fight up as well. There's going to be a lot of eyes. They're saying Mick Maynard or Sean Shelby will be in attendance for that card. So, if I don't get to do it on as a late replacement, maybe I'll get to show my skills on the BFL.
Yeah, no, for sure. And just, yeah, like I was saying before, it seems like such a massive event to, be performing on and everything like that. Just like, I feel like BFL always, delivers in terms of like the depth of the card and stuff like that. I mean, I feel like it's one of the big shows in all of Canada, if not the biggest show. So, yeah, I mean, I feel like there's really something to, competing for them. And especially just considering, I guess, your pedigree in the promotion and your tenure and everything like that, because I was seeing a statistic, I guess, leading into your last fight, where it was talking about how you had 18 fights tied for the most in the promotion. So, I mean, vaulting yourself towards most fights in the promotion with this next one here and everything kind of going off of that. So, yeah, definitely your tenure with the promotion seems to, speak volumes and whatnot, and just how high level the stage is and everything.
Yeah, definitely, man. I like to. fight as much as possible. So for me, it doesn't feel like the most, which is crazy when I did hear that myself. But definitely grateful for that and being able to do that because this isn't an easy sport. So, I'm blessed to be able to go through camps, which are tough, and be able to fight as frequent as I'm able to.
Yeah, no, it's great stuff for sure, man. And I mean, as someone you've previously fought, Josh Kwiatkowski kind of has a fairly exciting fight on the card in his own right. I would say that Teshay Gouthro fight, it seems like that's getting a certain amount of attention, like the back and forth and the fight from earlier this year kind of falling out last minute and stuff like that. So, I mean, that seems like an intriguing fight on this card as well.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Both good fighters. Super excited to watch it after my fight. I try not to get too involved while I'm in the back warming up, um but yeah, that's they don't like each other, which makes a fight much more exciting.
Yeah, no, definitely keeps it fun. Adds a little spice to it, especially when it seems authentic, which that seems like the case. I mean, I did a face-off interview with those guys, which depending on how the I guess video drop of everything, I mean, it could already be out by now, but yeah, who's to say? I mean, I feel like it's going to be a great card overall, though, just more so, I guess, further kind of illustrating that piece of it. But just curious as to where you're, honing your skills these days, because the last time we were talking, I was referencing some different spaces. Like I'd seen some articles referencing you being out of TriStar Vancouver, but then some others would talk about clinch MMA and fitness. Like whereabouts are you honing the skills at gym wise these days?
Yeah, I'm at a gym. I left clinch for a while, but they just never updated that. That's where kind of like my beginning amateur career was. And then went out to TriStar. Obviously still there, and then um, Lions MMA is my main gym at the moment. So yeah, the guys out there, great group of guys. We got Rodrigo competing in the finale of the Ultimate Fighter, which is huge for the gym, and then a lot of other up and coming fighters that are going to be on this card as well. So yeah, we're all kind of just building a fight team out there, and just yeah, looking to prove that we're one of the best out here.
And do you find yourself working with like a core specific group of fighters, or does it kind of vary large in part, or how does that all shake out, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, our pro practices aren't for everybody for sure. They're pretty tough, but and you obviously need a certain level of skill to hop into those practices. But that being said, yeah, for the most part, it's a crew of us. I would say anywhere from like 12 to 15, sometimes even 20 people that come through the pro practices. And then, yeah, we just put in the work and then, yeah, train hard, but train smart, which is the most important. A lot of people leave their careers in the gym, which, is always driven by ego and trying to win at the gym rather than trying to perform, and develop skill, which is what training is about. So yeah, that it's cool when I have a crew like this to be able to do that with.
And is the, I guess, work that you guys get in, and from what you just kind of illustrated there, some very calculated, specific work that's more focused on the refinement of skill and not leaving those years in the gym and that kind of degradation in the training space, or in terms of like, I guess, the, regression and whatnot. Like you could use that in live competition more so for sure. But I guess in kind of talking about that certain work, like, is it, I guess, kind of oriented to just each person fighting within, I guess, their comfortable, familiar skill set and showing their best attributes to kind of grow your own best attributes? Or is there a certain amount of, I guess, like replicating what your opponent is going to do in a certain sense, like just with your opponent being, undefeated in MMA and a wrestling standout and whatnot, and having that certain pedigree with, national wrestling championship distinctions? Like, do you have certain people trying to, I guess, emulate that style a little bit, or is the work more oriented to like them, I guess, bringing their best attributes to it? And then there's that mutual iron sharpens iron work to kind of use a trope a bit.
Yeah, yeah. I would say a blend of both. Yeah, for sure. I would think like, the guys out there give me the looks. We got a few southpaws in the gym, but even a lot of our orthodox fighters, they give me the southpaw look. As well. Aso being a southpaw, so um, we try to help each other as much as we can. Even though we got like three guys on this card, we still try to give each other the looks, that we need to. But the one thing that I did learn in this fight game is, fighting Siri a couple times was, you just don't go in there with a set game plan and just stick with it. You gotta be able to go in there, obviously study your opponent and know what they're good at. But at the same time, they're also developing and they're going through a training camp as well. So they might have a different idea. So I'm just gonna go look to go in there. I know how I fight and the tools that I have. So I'm just gonna pick the right tool on fight night, and if that's not the right one, then I have a lot of other tools that I can bring out and try to find the right one and find the victory.
Yeah, and you mentioned getting to fight Siri a couple times and everything like that, and he now has, I guess, back-to-back wins in the UFC. Like, do you have any thoughts on what he was able to do in those Garrett Armfield and Cameron Smotherman fights in the UFC, with that last one taking place in early May?
Yeah, I mean, Siri's a great competitor. I always try to take like the toughest fights available as well. So it's not like, I try to fight like anybody that's not good just to pad my record, right? So I think we both learned a lot in those fights from each other. And it helped us both grow, both in the grappling and in the striking department. So yeah, I always wish him the best, and I'm happy to see he's successful in the UFC.
Yeah, no, for sure. Definitely experiences that can serve to grow both of you in your own endeavors, for sure. But I mean, someone who also has that, I guess, like certain proximity to the UFC, and as far as like they had previously competed for them, I mean, coming off of a PFL run and then was with Bellator kind of in between those two promotional stints, just Jeremy Kennedy fighting on this card and, facing another Jeremy and Jeremy Henry for that interim lightweight title. So that's pretty exciting. So I was seeing an interview talking about how Jeremy Kennedy hasn't fought in Canada for, I guess, close to a decade now. So yeah, someone who is a big veteran in the space, kind of bolstering the card even further. That has to be kind of an exciting piece for you in that certain regard, in like a peripheral kind of way.
Exactly, man. I was the main event first, and then that fight got announced. Obviously, that's a title fight, and it's the main event now. And a lot of people were like, "Oh, like, are you mad about it?" I'm like, "No, man. I'm super happy. Actually, there's so many more eyes coming to watch now. So many different fans that are like Jeremy's fans or that are going to be watching now. So, man, it's super cool. I'm excited to be the co-main event on that fight, and man, the guy Jeremy deserves it, man. He went 3-1 in the UFC. Had a good Bellator run, fought all the top guys. So, yeah, hopefully, if I get a quick finish, or when I get a quick finish. Um, I'm hoping that I can watch that one.
Yeah, that would be incredible. I mean, a guy who just has such a deep resume, like fought guys like Alexander Volkanovski, Patricio Pitbull, Aaron Pico. I mean, you could really go on. So yeah, that's cool that you're kind of looking at it through that lens of like, yeah, it's just ultimately going to bring more attention to your fight by proxy, because Jeremy Kennedy fans are also going to be checking this out too.
Exactly.
No, I just love the mindset. It's great stuff, man. But kind of talking about your upcoming opponent here, Aso Palani, I did mention the wrestling pedigree and I guess the undefeated MMA distinctions and stuff like that, and some very BFL localized experience and everything like that leading into this one and whatnot. I guess just kind of getting your thoughts on that, like just, thoughts on the resume and just general skill set that Aso Palani brings to the table heading into this fight relative to what you've seen from his prior fights.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Again, like he has never fought somebody of my caliber of fighting. So for that, I know that, like, any of his past opponents weren't uh, don't have my skill set. And that's not to say they're better or worse, but they just don't have my skill set. So, I think I'm gonna bring a tough puzzle for him to try to solve, and I don't think he has the tools to solve the puzzle. And I think that I'm dangerous in all areas. On the feet, off my back, on top, takedown, any distance in the clinch. So yeah, I think that he's in for a rude awakening that night. And my biggest thing is that I'm not gonna let him settle at all. So it's gonna be 50 minutes of hard work. And I hope he's ready for that, and we can just put on an exciting fight.
And it seems like you're very much gearing up for an exciting fight, an exciting performance, etc. Like you were talking about how there could be some, I guess, UFC matchmaker action here, like people, seeing this fight up close and whatnot. And it seems like the kind of performance you're talking about generating is something that can kind of serve, I guess, maybe even vaulting yourself to that UFC Vancouver card. I guess in terms of what you might be visualizing in that kind of vein, like do you have a particular ideal outcome that you want to secure here that would, I guess net you that opportunity, like vault you towards, I guess, either another crack at becoming a 3-time BFL champion or, getting on that UFC Vancouver card coming up? Like, is there a visualization of an ideal outcome here that you think could net you either of those opportunities, I guess?
Yeah, I think it's on me to make this fight exciting. I think his style of fighting isn't very exciting. And I just believe that I'm gonna get a finish, and that's the goal by any means necessary. I got 15 minutes to figure out how to find that finish, but I truly believe I have the skill to find that finish. So that's gonna be my goal. But if it's a dominant decision, that's okay as well. You know what I mean? The first and foremost, the most important thing is winning. Because if you lose, none of the other stuff matters.
Yeah, no, I get where you're coming from. And I mean, your track record definitely speaks to how exciting you are out there for sure, Ali. But it's always good getting to talk to you, man. I appreciate you carving out some time today to talk ahead of this fight, but just being mindful of your time and what you're getting up to. I figured I'd give you the floor if you had any kind of final parting thought you wanted to add as we're wrapping up here. I appreciate you coming on MMA Canada and giving great insights today, man.
No, I appreciate the platform. I just got to say, man, to anybody watching, tune in September 4th. I'm the co-main event of BFL 84. And tune in. My fight, every fight, I learn I grow through camp. And I've done the same this camp. And I'm excited to show everyone that doesn't know me a new version. And for those that do know me, a new version of myself. So, tune in September 4th. I'm the co-main event, and it's going to be an exciting one.
Yeah, it's going to be a great card in Vancouver. BFL 84 definitely going to bring it. And for people who aren't in the British Columbia area, can definitely check things out via UFC Fight Pass on September 4th. But again, to reiterate, thanks for giving such great insights ahead of this Aso Palani fight. Great getting to have you on MMA Canada again, man. I'll be peeping this fight when it goes down. But until then, all the best with the remaining stretch of the preparations and just have a good weekend as well.
Appreciate you, bro. Thank you again.